Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Happy to be with you today. It's a wonderful day here. I sure hope it is where you're from. I've been talking about seeing God's work, God's miracles in our lives. And I want to continue to do that. Here's a passage from Psalm 111, beginning with verse 2. How amazing are the deeds of the Lord! All who delight in him should ponder them. Everything he does reveals his glory and majesty. His righteousness never fails. He causes us to remember his wonderful works. How gracious and merciful is our Lord. Well, it starts out with this: how amazing are the deeds of the Lord. They really are amazing. I don't know that there's a better word to describe it. In fact, there might not even be a word really to describe the works of God all around us. And usually when we talk about that, we think about nature and animals and colors in the natural world and things like that. But there's another idea that I'd like to share as part of this passage. The next part of the verse says, everything he does reveals his glory and his majesty. Everything he does. Well, do you know what the greatest creation of God is? Well, it's recorded in Genesis. It's the last thing he created. Us, man, people. We are his greatest creation. Oh, the mountains are majestic, oh, for sure. The colors in the fall are amazing. Absolutely. But we, people, we are the crowning achievement of his glory and his works. Now, let me give you an example. I've passed by this house for quite a while now. It it's sort of a rundown house. Well, that's to put it mildly. It, it's pretty bad. But some time ago, somebody started fixing it up, and they kept working at it and working at it and working at it. And I can't tell if they're finished or not. They probably aren't. But what I can see is terrific. They took a piece of junk and turned it into something special. Now, I know you're saying, well, that's not God's work. That's the person who did it, the carpenters, the builders, or whatever. But it is God's work because God made those folks and gave them the gifts and the abilities to create that wonderful place that they're building. You see, I know you learn things by doing them over and over and over again. I understand that. But you've got to have the gift for it, or you'll never be terrific. I have typed for a long, long time. And you know what? I don't use two fingers, but I am a lousy typist. I make mistakes, the same mistake, over and over and over again. And I tell myself before I start, I can't do this, but I do it anyway. You know why? Because I'm not a typist. I've gotten better than when I started, and I might be better than some, but my goodness sakes, I am not a typist. God did not make me with that ability. And it doesn't matter how much I practice It doesn't how much I work at my craft. I'm never going to be a typist. But now there are other things I can do really well and fairly easy because that's how God made me. The folks who are rebuilding this building, they are gifted. And what I get to see is the results of the gifts that God gave to them. Now, if I knew who they were, or if I saw them working there, I'd stop and go up and tell them that. I know they'd think I'm some kind of a nut, and maybe I am. But it's their hands that are doing the work, but it's God's gifts that allow their hands to do the work. And the same is true for your life. Things you're good at are gifts from God. They are these same kinds of amazing deeds that Psalm 11 talks about. It's the idea that what you do reveals His glory. It really counts. You see, when we want to look for God at work in our lives, we don't have to see the instant miracle. Oh, they're there. And yeah, I've seen them. And they're terrific. But it's the little everyday things that I can see God in that really sustain my world. So, what kind of things do you do for God? I don't know. Take a look at your life, assess it, evaluate it, be honest. What do you do well? How did you know how to do that? How could you figure out how to do whatever it is that, quote, comes natural to you? Believe me, it doesn't come natural. It comes as a gift from God. So today, the rest of this week, over the weekend, we're getting near the end of the week. As you move around, as you watch, as you talk, as you do this or do that, look at God's greatest creation, people, and see what you see. If you look close enough, you just might be surprised. Well, thanks for listening. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. If you have a prayer concern or a need, just let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Well, thanks so much for listening. God bless you, and I'll talk to you again.